Aloha everyone, it's Carissa from Sprinkled with Glitter and I'm coming to you from Hawaii today. Before I left, I made some photo cards that I thought I would share with you guys, and they're to send to family and friends while I'm on our vacation. I just thought this would be a fun, more personal way to share our experience with everybody, more personal than a postcard. And I'm going to use my Fuji Instax printer to print out a card from our vacation and send it to family and friends. So I've started out by creating these card fronts. I've printed 4 to a piece of paper, and I used the computer to do this because I don't have any stamped greetings that say Aloha, and I really wanted it to say Aloha. So I also have this beautiful flower die. This is from the Wild Garden set from the Essentials by Ellen line. And you see, I have a little example of a Fuji Instax photo here, but this is not actually the one I'm going to use. And my idea is to do a partial die cut flower that will come up over the photo and hold the photo. So I'm positioning this beautiful flower here in the lower right hand corner, and I'm holding it in place with a little piece of Post-it tape. And then I'm going to use this on the edge cutting pad to do some partial die cutting. Now, you don't have to have this on the edge cutting pad to do partial die cutting, but I'm having really good luck with it lately. Because of its small size, I can kind of turn it and twist it any way that I want it and still get the cuts that I want. It's kind of hard to do that with the larger pads. And so I'm just positioning this at an angle so it's going to cut just the top part of this flower, and anything that is not pressed between the two plates won't cut. So you're going to see me run this through here, and this is what I'm left with. So I have half of that flower cut, and the lower half has not been cut. And you can see that this is my idea here, to have that flower come up over the photo and hold the photo in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to all 4 of my card fronts. Once again, just positioning that little on the edge cutting pad there to get the cut right where I want it. And then I'm going to cut out 4 of the flowers out of just some regular cardstock, cut them out completely, as well as the leaves. Now, I do want to say the on the edge cutting pad, it's just a few bucks to add to your collection, and since I'm not doing any cutting actually into the pad, it's going to last me a really long time. So if you're looking for something to make your partial die cutting a little bit easier, I really do highly recommend those on the edge cutting pads. So once I get those pieces cut out, there are some little delicate areas. I just use my Tim Holtz craft pick to kind of push those out of the die and kind of push any little pieces out that might be remaining. Like on this little die cut here, the little center pieces were hanging on. I had some hanging chads. Anybody remember that whole scandal? Anyway, so I got all those things popped out, and now I have my card fronts ready to go, as well as these die cuts to add to the front of the card as well. So these are just some plain white die cuts, and I love plain white die cuts because there's really so much that you can do to alter them, add dimension and color, and today I'm using Copic markers to add some color to these plain white die cuts. I'm starting out with the Y17, and I'm just adding this right to the middle of those flowers just to give it a little bit of yellow there in the center. If I had it to do over again, I might go with a little bit more orange than yellow, but in the end, I think it turned out beautifully, and I don't think anybody is going to care. So once I got all the centers colored in there, I'm going to go in with R32 and R22. Now, R32 is actually the lighter of the 2 pinks that I'm using, so I'm going in with that one first, and I'm coloring all over the rest of this flower. Now you can see that I don't have to be very careful. I'm just kind of scribbling the color on here, just making sure I get a nice base of color laid down. And once I get that colored completely over, except for where the yellow area is, then I'm going to go in with the R22 and add some darker parts to this. So I'm kind of going in between the petals and kind of coming up a little bit. It really doesn't matter. You can add the shading wherever you want. But once I get that darker color laid in where I want it, then I'm going to go back in with the R32 and kind of just blend that out. And in the end, I am left with a beautiful die cut that has a little bit of dimension as far as the color is concerned. Now I'm going to use the same technique, and I'm using YG21 and YG23 for the leaves. So I'm laying down the YG21 first over the entire leaf, And I'm doing 4 of these at a time. I'm kind of mass producing here. So you're seeing me get really down and dirty and ugly with this, and that's okay. And once I get that lighter green laid down, I'm going to come in with the darker green and add it just around kind of the bottom of the leaf and up the middle part of the leaf, just to add a little depth and dimension. Now, if you wanted to, you could, instead of coloring these, you could cut these out of some colored cardstock, or you can use whatever coloring medium that you might have on hand to kind of color these. So now you can see I have all 4 of my flowers and all 4 of my leaves cut out and colored here. And now I'm going to add some Perfect Pearl mist here. Now this is just some Perfect Pearl pigment powder mixed in with some water, and I put it in a Ranger mini mister, and I'm just spritzing over the top of these here. And this is just going to add a little bit of shine to these flower die cuts. And when it catches the light, it just has this really nice shimmery effect. And then I just set those aside to dry. Once they were dry, I went in with my Zig two-way glue pen, and I'm just adding some glue all over the top part of that partial die cut flower. I want to make sure that the die cut that I'm laying on top of it really sticks to that part. I don't want them to separate. And then I'm going to add some glue to the die cut that I'm going to be layering over the top of it as well. And once I get the glue kind of all on both pieces, I'm going to pick up my tweezers and position this directly on top of that partial die cut piece. And you can see there that when I get this all lined up, I have a really nice, fun little accent on the front of my card. And that's going to serve to hold my photo in place. Now, this is Hawaii after all, and I thought it needed a little bit more color and a little bit more pattern than just this. While the flower die cut is beautiful on its own, I just felt like it needed a little something more. And there's nothing quicker than adding washi tape to cards. So since I'm creating several of these at a time and time is of the essence, I'm just adding a few different washi tapes here. I started out with some triangle washi tape and then some gold polka dot washi tape. And then this black and white striped washi tape I'm going to add as well, but it was a little too wide. It was kind of taking over the other 2 washi tapes. So I just cut it down the center and added a small strip of that over to the side. And the beautiful thing about washi tape also, I know I haven't used it in a while, but it's great for mass producing because you can just tear it, and there's nothing faster than doing that. So now I have my example photo. This is not the real photo here. Kind of add it in here so that I can see where I want to add the leaf. And once I get the leaf position figured out, I'm going to go in behind it and add just a little bit more of that Zig two-way glue pen to keep that in place. And I went ahead and rounded the bottom right-hand corner of that, and then I'm going to cut some mats for this as well. Now for the mats, I'm using this Basil Candy Hearts Card Shop cardstock. I just thought the pink was a really nice accent to the pinks that I had used on the flowers before. And my card base, I've used some Nina 110-pound Solar White cardstock. It's cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and then scored at 5 1/2 to create a top folding card. And then I'm going to cut down a little bit of fun foam to add behind this as well. Now you're going to see when I position the card front on here, you lose kind of that partial die cut feeling there because the fun foam is not allowing that to be open. And I want to cut that out so that you can see the pink through. Once you remove the photo, I want that pink to show through. So I'm just marking out the area, a rough area of where I need to cut out with a pencil. And then I'm just sticking my scissors right through it and trimming right around it. Now this fun foam trims out very easily. So you just stick the blade right through it and start cutting. And you can see it's kind of ugly, but it's not going to matter because nobody's going to really see it. And since I am planning on mailing these and not hand delivering them, I thought it was really important to have that nice firm base of the fun foam behind the card front. In order to adhere the fun foam to the back of the card front as well as to that layer that I'm creating, I added a little bit of score tape, and that's just a really nice strong adhesive that you can use to keep that in place. I don't have really good luck with the tape runner on the back of the fun foam, so I kind of picked up that tip from Jennifer McGuire, and I've been really loving it. And then to add my layered piece here, I can just add a little bit of regular tape runner adhesive and adhere it to my card base. And you can see here that I can slide in a picture that I print from my little Fuji printer. I will link to a video that I created of a review on that Fuji Instax printer, so you can see that in the description below. And I finished off the card with just a few sparkling clear sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. As always, I'll have links to all the products used in this project over at my blog, as well as in the description at YouTube. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time, aloha!